The man behind the absolutely brutal attack on Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, is in court and has now apologized for the attack. Here is a clip.
We had no terror during my administration. The only terror we had was Nancy Pelosi, who's a crazed lunatic. She's a lunatic. She is a crazed lunatic. What the hell was going on with her husband? Let's not ask. Let's not ask. I'll withdraw that statement. By the way, she's got a wall around her house. Obviously, in that case, it didn't work very well, did it? It didn't work.
Oh, sorry, brain fart. That's not the guy who did the attack. That's one of the guys who inspired the attack. Sorry, I get those mixed up from time to time. That clip, by the way, is not years old. That just happened. Those jokes he was making were about the attack, which has already happened. Trump thinks it's hilarious. She's still, Nancy Pelosi, the wife of the guy whose skull was bashed in by a right-wing lunatic, is the terrorist. And the walls didn't work, did they? It's funny. Maybe someone should do it again. This was a politically motivated act of shocking violence, and he is still joking about it. And by the way, that clip, I haven't even really seen that going around. At least like the vermin thing, like some people were talking about it. He is joking about a vicious attempted assassination and nobody cares. But anyway, my intro was true in that David DePape, the guy who did it, is actually testifying in court. He expressed his regrets for what he did. He said he planned, by the way, to wear a unicorn costume he brought to the home that night and use a hammer to interrogate Nancy Pelosi about what he believed were government-backed plots against Donald Trump and other matters. I don't know where he could have gotten the idea that there are these plots against Donald Trump trying to shut him down or hurt his movement. I don't know where he could have gotten that idea. He said, I wanted her to use her to expose the truth. If she lied, I would break her kneecaps. By the way, a little bit more background on this guy. He testified that he was first drawn to right-wing conspiracies after learning about Gamergate. He says he would spend up to 6 hours a day playing video games while listening to political podcasts, which, that actually sounds like a fun way to use the day. I have a feeling the podcast and maybe even the games are slightly different than I would be spending my time with. But he said he believed news outlets repeatedly lied about Trump. He mentioned CNN. He believed a number of different QAnon conspiracy theories. And he also told authorities that he had other targets other than Nancy Pelosi. So a women's and queer studies professor at the University of Michigan, Gavin Newsom, Tom Hanks, notably of the movie Burbs, and President Joe Biden's son, Hunter. And so he had a long list of people who the podcasts and the shows and the politicians had caused him to think need something to happen to them. And now he is apologizing. There's a lot out there, JR, obviously, that I threw out. What do you make of it? What do you make of the apology?
I'm still looking for it. But yeah, so enemies list has been made. Do you think he created that list off top of his head? Do you think he came up with Gavin Newsom, Tom Hanks, because he just thought about it? Or maybe someone fed that to him. And then, the fact that the former president is over here talking, I guess, on a campaign stop and talking about the Pelosi attack from however long ago as he's running for president 2024. I'm trying to figure out what this has to do with while he's running for president. I'm only asking that because I just want to highlight how much he doesn't talk about being president, how much he doesn't talk about what he'll do for all these idiots behind him that are chanting his name like he's really done something for them. Because when you ask them, we've seen some of these interviews, what happened for you under Donald Trump in those 4 years? There's never an answer that makes much sense outside of, well, he hated a lot of people that I hate too. That's the basis for it. He knows that. He knows that these folks, like the one who attacked the Pelosi's, would believe all this stuff. That's why he pushes it. That's why he and Elena Haba come outside the courtroom every day and talk about Letitia James and the judge, and then also his assistant and anyone else that they see that they don't like, because they have foot soldiers all over the place and they don't know when it's going to happen. That's the only thing they don't have control over, but they know that it could happen. And after it does happen, it becomes a joke and tagline. Right after they say, who could have seen it coming? We have nothing to do with these folks. It was a lone wolf operation. I don't know where he got these ideas from that are exact parroting off of the things that we always say. I don't know how this ever happened. They move along and then it turns into a joke line a year later, because that's the whole purpose. Yeah. Be outraged by people, call them evil and satanic and murderers and bloodthirsty and coming for your children. Then send people after them. After that happens, start joking about it later. While you're on a campaign stop, which is about what? Absolutely effing nothing is what this whole thing's about. So what is he gonna do for you guys? What's next? What's he gonna do for you now? What's he gonna do now? And by the way, I guess those walls around the Pelosi's didn't work. 5 seconds later, this fool's gonna talk about how he's building a wall. Calm down.
Yeah, 100%. That is very funny. Yeah, well, I mean, I think the answer to one of your questions is sort of wrapped up in what he's doing. What did he deliver for them? Well, Nancy Pelosi's husband's skull was cracked in. That's something that they clearly don't have a problem with. Maybe there'll be more of that. They've been trained to believe that the only thing that matters is taking down these satanic baby eaters. And so that's what they're delivering. It's just like, it's not that he got on a hot mic and he said it. He said it to a crowd and they loved it. They think that that is funny. And I want to ask a serious question to our audience. If a month from now, somebody breaks into the home of, let's say, Speaker Johnson's house, bashes in his partner's skull, and then the next day and the next week and a year later, I mock them for being attacked, please tell me that you would stop listening to this show. Please tell me that you would not draw any satisfaction or pleasure or entertainment or humor out of that, because he is surrounded by people who do. They think there are a lot of people who need to have their skulls bashed in with hammers. And I want to imagine that we are better.
You remember Kathy Griffin lost a lot of her career over? Do you remember what happened?
For the picture of Trump with his head cut off, yes.
Weird how that is. She did that violent imagery and then lost all these, whatever it is she lost over career-wise and success-wise and all that stuff. This guy's literally laughing with a group of people over something that did happen, and it's celebrated. It turns into, oh, look at my president. I just want you guys to see the differences. And not that what Kathy Griffin did was right, but I want to I'll show you guys the differences of the results.
Yeah.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.